Let's go. Game time.
I know what I'm talking about. The standard is the standard. That's our motto. That's our creed. That's our approach. But it's just words.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Better Baby Daddy podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Laxman.
I'm your other host.
Again,
We
hit him with the ho-host.
Not a ho-host. Co-host, Kelly Burgess.
We kept the last one. We came in. To our ladies out there, we do not participate in.
And you don't.
Don't.
We've grown past that.
We're way past that. But with that being said, babe, time to get a little real, time to get a little serious. And today we're going to talk about anger and specifically how men tend to avoid emotions, situations, people, environments that lead to that anger. So today's episode is titled, You Don't Have an Anger Problem, You Have an Avoidance Problem.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
There you go. Anger is a secondary emotion, right? Right off the top, we're talking about it. And pre-show, we're talking about anger is not a bad thing necessarily. It can be, in a healthy sense, to say, hey, here's my line. But it's what do you do after that?
Mm-hmm.
And then what led you up to feeling angry that we want to talk about today.
Absolutely. Essentially, in almost all situations, when we're talking about co-parenting, splitting up from our significant others, dealing with child support, dealing with everything that becomes a single father and a better baby daddy,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be anger involved because of what's occurring.
Yes.
But it's about what caused that anger to occur.
Yes.
Like you said, anger is the secondary function of something that occurred previously.
Yeah.
Whether that's something that someone said, something that someone did, something that you felt, whether it's pain, whatever it may be. So as men, we really have to do the investigation into our lives to see what's causing that anger to occur.
Yeah. And when you're in a situation where, man, like we talked about previous episodes, time is tight, money's tight, emotions are frayed, sitting back and doing that kind of introspective work, you might feel like I don't have the time to do that, but you don't have the time not to understand what's causing these things to pop off in your life, what's causing you to pop off in these things in your life. And it's that sitting down and not avoiding it and saying, hey, this is the thing that's eliciting this anger in me. Hey, Friday nights are tense because my kids are coming out, I feel like I'm ready for them. Okay. Sunday nights are tense because, man, I got to have another face-to-face interaction with my baby mama and we really are not hitting it. And her parents are going to be there and it's just ratcheted up. And so I'm angry. So being able to name it helps you get yourself in a place where you can begin to do something healthy about it.
I agree 100%. Name it, then work on fixing that issue. That's the big thing right there. When we talk about men avoiding certain situations or emotions or people or whatever it may be, and thus anger building up and then that explosion eventually occurs, what are we avoiding specifically?
I think most times men are avoiding accountability for their actions.
Oof.
Like when the bill comes due on your actions, and you say you used to being a slickster, used to being able to kind of, cover over things with your charm, or you just haven't got to the point where the full weight of a thing has fallen on you, and now the bill is due. A lot of times guys feel like just to get a sense of control, I'm going to swell up in this situation. Voice is going to get loud. I'm going to physically become more imposing to let you know you're not going to control me or you're not going to hold me accountable. That's been my experience, with people close to me, myself. It's like when somebody calls my car and it's like, you got me. So I could either own it or I could be like, I'm going to fight my way out this thing. So I think it's avoidance of accountability is one of them.
Yeah. So if we're not being accountable.
Correct.
Essentially, right? And I agree with that almost 100%. The things that I avoided in life, whatever they were, I wasn't being accountable towards those things or for those things.
Right.
I think men tend to avoid dealing with something that has caused them pain. It's not socially acceptable to say, I'm hurt because of this.
Right.
I feel because of this.
Right.
So I'm going to avoid that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be accountable for the actions that led up to that.
Right.
Because I'm avoiding the whole situation entirely.
Right.
And then when I avoid dealing with the situation, when I avoid being accountable for those actions surrounding that situation, frustration, annoyance builds.
Yeah.
Anger builds.
Yeah.
And you don't got an anger problem.
Right.
You got an avoidance problem.
You do. So how do we begin to help our audience understand that by taking small steps, you can diffuse that explosive anger, those things that lead up to that explosive anger. And so, it's important to understand that what we're talking about today in the episode is like, hey, is recognizing the thing and then trying to do something small and early so it doesn't get to the point where, you're throwing dishes and wrecking the kitchen cabinets because, you can't handle this particular situation that's coming up in your life. It's all about self-regulation at that point.
Yeah, 100%. It's 100% a self-regulation thing. Men engage in a lot of poor habits that help with the avoidance, that help them, myself at times in my life, you at times in your life, avoid accountability.
Yeah.
I think as men, we are accountable for a lot.
Right.
And I'm not taking that away or stripping that away from any of us. We are accountable for a lot of things.
Right.
But when it comes to those emotions and those actions that led to those emotions occurring, we'll avoid that. We won't be accountable for that a lot of times. Because that's a tough one. So avoiding pain because it's not socially acceptable to admit that I'm hurt because of something that occurred, that avoidance generally occurs through, I'm going to just go out with the buddies and have a drink. You know what? I'm going to just chill, not think about anything and get high. I'm going to chill and watch Netflix and not think about anything. I'm going to go find someone new to comfort me.
Well, chill with somebody new. That's a big one. I'm overwork. I'm going to throw myself into my job. We talked about that a couple episodes ago, how that's a noble thing. Yeah. We get a lot of kudos for work. And it's easy to say, hey, this thing is not working. I'm going to medicate myself with an extra 20 hours a week at work. So now I'm working 80, 90 hours a week. We're really good at avoiding. It takes a strong man to admit, I'm weak in this area. I was really wounded in this area. I'm still wounded by not seeing my kids every day. It takes a strong man to admit that. And then once you get to that place, man, there's some work that needs to be done. But if you keep layering on quick fixes or things that dull the pain, eventually that thing is going to erupt.
Eventually it will erupt. Yeah. It's that caldera of lava that builds under the volcano.
Look at you with SAT vocabulary. We're talking about calderas today. There you go. It is.
Under Yellowstone, right?
It is.
It's going to explode eventually.
It is. It is.
And it doesn't care who's around.
It really doesn't.
And it could be the smallest thing that sets it off. Like you might be with your new lady and she says something like, goofing around with you, saying, yeah, well, fatherhood's a hard thing. You don't know about that. Something goofy, just messing with you. And all of a sudden, you erupt. Yeah. And when you erupt, it's nasty. It's ugly. Yeah. And it's not because you have an anger issue. Right. It's because you had that avoidance
of handling the problem. Yeah.
And I'm thinking back to like early on in my life being, just to share a little bit, is that anger, that eruption was intoxicating for me as a young man. I felt powerful. And I know a lot of you probably did at times too. When you get angry, like you said, your chest swells up, you feel big, you feel bad. Right. Like, you want to go to this level? Right. I'm going to go to this level. Right. And you're not coming here with me. Right. So it can be intoxicating. It can be addicting. And your ego swells. Right? You're not going to show me up. Right. I'm going to show you what I can do.
Right.
And then you punch a door. Right. You rip a door out. Like you said, you throw something across the room. You do all these things. Yeah. To show that you're powerful. Right. And at the end of the day, when that's all over, what do you feel?
Shame.
Yeah.
Because you lost it, and you got more stuff to repair.
Yeah.
I was just thinking when you were talking about the situation, because I've had the opposite experience, like we were talking about pre-show. That anger was, you weren't out going to anger my mom. And so I learned really quickly to stuff my anger and not really talk about it. Hey, I was in some relationships that did a great job of extracting that anger. And I remember being in these situations where it's like, it really was out of body. Like, I'm sitting cursing somebody out.
Yeah.
I rarely curse. And we are the effing, and you effing in close proximity to one another. Like, this thing is really getting ready to get out of pocket. But then, like you said, afterwards, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
How did I get to this spot? And it's that inability to say, let me go back and say, I've been avoiding telling you, other person, that hey, this isn't allowed. Here's my boundary.
Mhm.
Or I've been avoiding saying, man, I've made a series of bad decisions. I have to
Mhm.
put myself in a position to be in a situation where I'm tussling with somebody. It's on me. And so verbally tussling.
Yeah.
It might have been some nudging going on. It wasn't no closed fist punching, but it wasn't good. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a space I wanted to remain in. But the point is, man, when I avoided the things that led up to that, then the explosive anger came and then the shame came.
I can think of like the progression that I went through as a man with my early relationships, not dealing with the pain of those early relationships, avoiding that pain that I caused myself because of my own actions in those early relationships, and then looking at the progression to the very next relationship that I shouldn't have been in at the time. And nothing against that young lady,
It's common.
It was just the wrong timing of that relationship. Right. And the anger that I carried because I didn't deal with the pain that was from the first relationship, where I'm punching a door. I remember one time I punched a door and I kind of like missed it. Like I didn't hit it square.
The door was like,
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And so that just set me off more. So now I'm just hammering at the door. You ever see that video of Rampage Jackson like ripping out the door? I'm just like, I'm like, and about 4 punches in when my fist has went completely through the door.
Right.
I'm like, what the heck am I doing?
Right.
Like, what have I done?
Right.
And then I didn't deal with the pain, the anger, the frustration of that second relationship. And I carried it onto this third relationship. And there's a compound effect of it.
Yes, there is.
Like it exponentially compounds.
Yes, there is.
So if I didn't deal with it in relationship 1, and then relationship 2 occurs, and I haven't dealt with anything from relationship 1,
right? Now
I'm like, it's that interest building up because now I'm causing pain and discomfort in relationship 2,
right?
On top of what relationship 1 has brought there. Now I take all that and add it to relationship 3,
right?
And now I'm like, whoa.
Yes.
So there's no chance for relationship 3 to be successful.
None
whatsoever.
And that's why, when you look at subsequent marriages, you're like, how are third marriages failing at 88%? First marriage is failing 50% is because almost literally you're carrying emotional luggage into the house of that third marriage, and you haven't deloaded it. You haven't done that kind of work where it's like, man, I'm gonna be honest, like we talk about, I'm gonna sit with my stuff, I'm gonna work on it so that, man, that's left in house number 1. I'm not carrying that across the threshold of house number. Then we hope you don't get to a third marriage. Like we want this, whatever you're in now, or the next one you get in, to be the one that works.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It's a compounding, intensifying effect of bad choices and responses to things, or lack of response to things.
I was the Warren Buffett.
I'm fine.
Warren Buffett. Negative, bad, poor relationship decisions.
Okay.
I was just like stacking joints.
Right. Let's see how bad we can make this. Let's do it again.
By the time I got to the third significant relationship in my life, it was just there was no chance for that young lady whatsoever.
And she's almost like an innocent bystander because early in the relationship, everybody presents their best, breath smelling good, teeth looking good, everything's shiny, everything's new.
Yeah.
Oh man, that new car smell.
Yeah.
And then you drive that relationship a minute, and you're like, man, I hear something knocking in the engine. This alignment is off. And then the real people come out, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, I never even knew you had what's all this luggage you carried in here. It's crazy. But that is what happens when we avoid and we don't do the things we got to do.
You have to step up to the plate and really look at yourself. No matter what people are telling you, saying to you around you, right? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Because deep down, you know at some level.
Right.
Are you willing to extract it through meditation, through prayer, through counseling, through therapy, through journaling? Are you willing to extract it through those processes and deal with the ugly?
Yeah.
Reading a book, Arnold Schwarzenegger's book that just came out a couple years ago, and he deals with the ugly. And one way he dealt with the ugly was He had lost one of his first bodybuilding competitions, and he lost because his calves were too small. So if you work out and you in that world, you know that calves are a lot about genetics. There's not a lot you can do.
It's a stubborn muscle.
It's a very stubborn muscle,
Right.
slow twitch muscle.
Right.
It's very stubborn.
Right.
And but what he did is he went home and he cut right below his knees every single pair of pants he owned. He cut them off. So he was forced to see his calves, and everybody else was forced to see his calves as well. So he faced what he deemed as being ugly on a daily basis, 24/7.
Wow.
On top of that, what he did is he worked on those calves every single day. And it was the first exercise he did every time he went into the gym. Thousands of reps to improve that weak area.
Hey, and it takes, that's why we love athletic examples, because it's life compressed. And so when you have an area you're trying to work on, you have to hyper focus. You have to be fanatic about trying to fix that thing. And society is not set up to, society loves to see the results of that. Society doesn't celebrate the grind you have to be in to get the results. And so when we talk about avoiding these, so what he did was he faced the truth, but our default is to avoid the truth because that's societally reinforced. That comfort and that, hey, let's just stay at the status quo. Let's not ruffle any feathers. Man, you're doing okay. You're not as bad as this dude. That's societally reinforced for a lot of reasons that we might even be able to unpack in this one. But if you want to change, you got to get into resistance training. And for men, I think, there's a lot of things we can do individually. So you talked about meditation, reading the Bible, prayer, journaling. Those are lone things you do. Personally, I think that at some point, you got to be in a community of dudes who are willing to call a spade, that out of love for you, they say, hey, John, you said this, that you wanted your standard to be this. Right now we're seeing this. Explain that gap to us. Like if you really, like you texted last week about what's something you really, I can't remember how you put it, but what's something like you really are serious about, two things you're serious about?
Something that you say you value.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Now prove it.
There you go. And so you have to be in a tribe of dudes where that's just the norm. You say you value this thing, hey, prove it. And if your schedule doesn't show it, then, let's talk about whether you really want it. And so the Schwarzenegger example is, man, he really wanted it. He wanted it so bad, I'm cutting my good suits up and turn these joints into little capris, and we're going to bust these calves out because I'm not losing another competition because of some super calves. Relationally, gentlemen, you got to have that kind of mindset if you want to change as a dad. You just do. And there's no shortcuts around it because it's too easy to just coast. What was me? Explosive anger. So get into a tribe that's going to challenge you and pull you towards the kind of man you want to be.
Absolutely. I think that what you just said there is the quintessential thing. If you're not good at reflecting, if you haven't built the habits up that allow you to dive deep into yourself, is to get around individuals that will pull your cards. And they'll say, well, now I know you said you're a great dad, but you done missed pickup 2 times in a row. You ain't talked to your child in 3 weeks. Are you really a great dad? And if that hits, there's probably a reason it hits.
Yeah, it hits. And if you're in that tribe, you're in a good space.
Yeah.
Good dudes who walk that journey will press you out.
Yeah.
And it's never comfortable to be pressed out.
No.
It's never comfortable to be exposed as a man. To say, hey, what your actions are lining up with what you said, yo. The beautiful thing about dudes is that we're very direct.
Yes.
We ain't pussyfooting around. We're not gossiping about you and talking about you behind your back. We're saying, yo, you didn't do the thing.
Yeah.
Step up, son. So part of this, Tyler's talking about avoiding. Part of putting yourself in a situation where you're not avoiding is get around people who are not avoiders. I'm really proud of one. I'm gonna do a shout out to one of my sons. I'm not gonna name him by name, but we had a coffee meeting last Sunday after church, and it was 3 of my sons. It was son number 2, number 3, and number 4, and me. And we were talking just about life, catching up. And then one of the sons was kind of taking a surface approach to something that's going on in his life, but we know it's a serious thing. And then one of the other sons says, I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but I really just don't have time for a service conversation about, some things that happened in my life where I value getting to the thing in the conversation.
Mm.
And he said it in such a direct but polite way. It was like, how can you not swim in that water? How can you not go there with him?
Right.
He challenged you as a man to say, as brothers, we got to get to another level.
Mhm.
So let's just get to the other level.
Mhm.
Love that. So shout out to him. He knows who he is. But that's the kind of thing you need,
Yeah.
to grow as a man and not be an avoider.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's powerful.
That was a proud dad moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, there it is right
Yeah,
there.
it is.
That's for real, for real. So I want to dive into a couple different things here
Mhm.
based on what you said there. Number one, we feel societal pressures to avoid certain emotions as men.
Mhm.
What would you say is if we could single out one thing, the primary thing that men avoid emotionally?
I think they avoid, it's not responsibility, it's
Well, emotionally.
emotionally.
Yeah.
I think they avoid expressing when something hurts them.
Mm.
I think that's really difficult for a man to say, when you said that, or when you did that, or when you didn't do that, that impacted me this way. Because to say that is to let somebody know where your flank is exposed.
Mm.
And that's why it's a real watershed in a relationship with your significant other, when you peel back the layer and say, hey, from a long way back, this has been a sensitive issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm letting you know where I'm vulnerable. I think that's hard. It's hard for a man to say, you could hurt me here. That's really hard.
Or you did hurt me.
Or you did hurt me here.
Yeah.
And to the other person, they might not, what do you mean? This is a little simple comment.
Yeah. Especially if you're your significant other.
Right.
Because there's that fear of looking like a punk,
Mm-hmm.
not portraying masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And then how is my significant other going to view me now?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go back to a concept that we had talked about in the previous season, and that was assertive vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, this episode shouldn't just be about what men avoid and how we shouldn't avoid it, but how we put those cards on the table ourselves.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to be assertively vulnerable about something that causes me pain, or something that you did that caused me pain, or something that you said that caused me pain, how do I go about doing that? And that's a really deep question.
It is. And it's an art and a science. For me, and it's going to be different for every dude. For me, when I need to have that kind of conversation with somebody, I usually have to wait till a time when it's really calm between us. So say something happened on Saturday, and man, I was stung by that. But either because of the way I was raised or just habits or whatever, I can't speak to that thing in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have to wait till Tuesday and say, hey, honey, normally it's something with my wife because they're the closest, right? They're close to us. Hey, you remember Saturday when we were, doing this around the house and you said this thing? I've been meaning to mention to you, that really impacted me this way. So for me, it's let me wait till the stakes are really low and the temperature's cool. And then, we're going to talk about it. Hey, when you said I always do such and such, man, that was real. I know you hate this word. That was a real trigger for me in my second relationship. The second relationship, that's all I heard. You always do this. No matter what I was doing, you always do it. It was usually a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you said that, it's kind of brought me back. It's my thing, but I wanted to let you know, wife, because I love you and I want you to know me, that was a thing in that moment because of some stuff from my past. Temperature's down, stakes are low. That's when I usually get the best result.
That's great advice, right? Like that, you're able to deliver the message in a calm, non-emotional way.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're talking about being the assertiveness that's necessary to deliver that vulnerability, I think we need to, I just did it right there. That's going to be funny what I say next. I think we need to, no, I don't think. We need to not use terms like I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was kind of like, no, I need to be very direct in the deliverance of my message. When you said this, this occurred.
Right.
Not like, well, baby, when you said that, I kind of felt like that's not assertive vulnerability. And it's not that you have to be projecting your chest out.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
But what assertiveness looks like is directness.
Right.
Right? It's respectful, a respectful deliverance of a message.
Right.
And can you do that?
Right.
Can you avoid those terms that kind of hedge your bet?
Right.
Where you're not trying to upset somebody else. Look, I'm going to be direct. You may not like what I'm going to say, but it's coming from a good place. It's coming from my heart. It's coming because of experiences that I had.
Right.
So when you said that to me, you always do this. It hit me.
Right.
And when it hit me, I got really angry.
Right.
I would appreciate you working on not saying that to me.
Right.
Can I deliver that like that?
Yeah.
You know?
And that takes growth. You're not going to, if you've never done that, you're not going to arrive at that right away. You know, that's like hitting the 95-mile-an-hour fastball that's low and away to me.
With movement.
With movement. And, you know, it's a couple times through the lineup. Like, he knows that's your weak spot, right? The pitcher. So we're saying that is a great, like, for you, you're in a different place in that than me, even though I know theoretically that's where I want to be. Like, I need more time in the batting cage for that to just to be able to deliver that directly and not feel like I got to hedge it because, you know, everything in my upbringing was you better hedge it because you don't know what's going to come next. But that's a great standard to be able to have this skill to say, let me give it to you straight so there's no confusing how it impacted me. And then let me invite you to work on that if you value the relationship. Saves a lot of time and energy, honestly.
Yeah.
But it takes skill and practice.
And it takes a partner that's willing to accept it. That's willing to say, all right, you know, he came to me as a masculine, assertive man, delivered his message. Let me look at myself real quickly here. And if she disagrees, can she come back and be like, well, this, and this?
Yeah.
And can then you say, all right, let me breathe and then deliver a respectful response.
Yeah.
And it's not about going back and forth.
No.
And it really shouldn't be. Here's one of the very important things. If I'm expressing my emotional reaction to a situation that occurred, in my mind, we're not debating my emotions. This is what I felt. Just like if she came to me with something, I'm not here to debate her emotions. I can't tell her how she should have felt or what she should have felt. I can't do that. We're not here to debate the emotion. I'm letting you know the emotion that occurred because of what happened.
Yeah, and that's a sign of a mature, emotionally intelligent couple that is able to say, when we're having that kind of dialogue, we're growing our relationship, that we're putting a personal record rep in, you know, arms twitching, like we're really growing a new part of us. Like when we're in that space. I think a lot of men have a difficult time being in that space. And a lot of women are used to men being in that space with them and viewing it as a healthy thing. And so that's a whole nother thing. I think that's why a lot of couples don't get there. But your point is that because your question was, what is it? Where do men struggle, or where do they,
what is that?
And, we hit on, and we didn't even talk about this in the show notes, but that puts the finger on the thing is, I think, one of the biggest things is, and why relationships break up, is because men either feel like they can't get to that space or they don't get to that space well. And then, it's all kinds of stuff off of that, right?
So what are the things that men need to do to stop the avoidance from occurring? Off the top of my head, I know I'm going to answer my own question. I'll give you a little time to think here. Is number one, proactive.
Okay.
There has to be, all right, in situations that get tense, I avoid the emotion by walking away and not thinking about anything else, right? So that proactiveness, or I'm going to build the capacity within myself to deal with that emotion through A, B, and C. That way I can stop that avoidance. And I also have to be reflective. I have to be able to look back and say, what have I avoided in the past that's causing me an issue right now?
That's some deep
Because
work,
you can't just, actually, I would say that the proactive has to come second, almost, in a sense, right? I have to first look back, because if you're at any stage of life, you've avoided something. Unless you're like 6 years old. But you're 6 years old, you're not listening to us.
Right.
But you avoided things.
Oh, somebody
6-year-olds be avoiding stuff.
Definitely some 12-year-olds.
Some accountability. So if I've avoided things, which most likely I have from an emotional standpoint as a man, what have I avoided? Why did I avoid it? And can I now go back and work on that?
Can I play a new play?
Yeah.
And I was going to say, you were saying that you were asking me, what do you need to do? This is where the alone work comes. This is where, hey, instead of going to the bar, I'm going to sit and journal and just pour these feelings out and these thoughts about, hey, this thing happened. Here's how I responded. Where's that coming from? If I was back in that situation, what play would I run differently next time? What are some techniques that I could use to help me be calmer so I can think more clearly when I'm in that situation again? That's the kind of introspective work, like you said, that comes before the proactivity of I'm going to do this thing. You've rehearsed it in your mind. It's like the film study. Hey, we played a game. We go back. I got the clicker. Hey, right there, Burgess. When you took that step to the inside and then he beat you deep, like, don't do that again. Like,
you don't have safety help, right?
Yeah, safety help. You're the help, yo. But seeing that and then reflecting on that and saying, okay, next time I'm gonna put the leverage to the outside and make sure I'm deeper than the deepest, wider than the widest, right?
Yeah.
But that takes time. And when you're crunched for time and energy, like we said at the top of the episode, it's like it doesn't feel like it's a good use of time to sit and do this kind of thing, but it is the use of time you have to have.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym and you say, hey, 6 months from now, I want to be able to bench press 225, but you got no plan going into the gym at all. You just at the gym, doing goblet squats. And it's like, you're trying to get better at the bench press. Like, get a plan.
Yeah.
And it's that alone time that helps you to formulate a plan.
All right. So in the attempt to provide some clarity for our listeners here, number one, reflect, see where you have committed avoidance, because you have, we all have.
Yeah.
Run through the film study and say, all right, what could I have done better? How's it impacting me right now? How can I work on minimizing that impact right now so I'm not the Warren Buffett of relationships, compounding negative decisions over and over again? Number two, put a plan in place moving forward where I'm proactive, so I'm not in a position where I'm avoiding the emotions that lead to eventual anger.
Impulsive anger, right?
Yes. So those two things.
Yep.
That's it. That's not a long process.
It's not a long process. And I would add a third, get an accountability group or a partner. You're going to have some fall off between 1 and 2 at some point.
Yeah.
But that third, keeps you on the road.
Yeah. Find some yankers.
Yeah, find some yankers, and then keep the improvement steps small and doable. Like Atomic Habit says, hey, what you can repeat is going to become a habit. Don't try to eat the whole elephant. Take a bite. Celebrate the small wins, but have some small ones.
And don't let society tell you that you can express yourself. There's assertive, masculine, respectful ways to assert your emotional vulnerability. It can be done. And I think we gave a relatively clear picture of how that can be done. Where I'm not hedging bets. I'm being direct, but I'm being respectful.
Being respectful. So it's a great balance. But when you are that kind of man, you're unstoppable. So,
agreed.
So what we want to do is kind of bring it in for a landing. What we want you dudes out there to be overall is better baby dads, and you become a better baby dad by making sure that you are confronting things in your life so that you don't lead to this explosive, destructive anger because you've avoided the stuff you needed to take care of. That's it in a nutshell. And so remember, just to kind of recap, we had 5 points here, right? Hey, anger is really not the primary emotion. It's really a secondary response to some other emotion you didn't address healthily early enough. You want to take number 2?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I didn't know we was going there. So, yeah, what you avoid will eventually find you. I kind of skipped that, didn't I? I did that wrong. But
no. Hey, no. If you don't take anything else away, your walking thought should be that right there. It's going to catch up with you. Yeah. It's going to.
I'm sorry, man. You kind of threw me. I was ready for number 2. And I was like, what happened?
Where's number 2? It's on the board over there. No. Hey, what you refuse to confront is gonna come and get you.
Yeah. And be aware. All right, let's recap cleanly here.
Okay.
Clearly here. Okay. So we're not discombobulated.
Gotcha.
And
sorry,
people are like, what are we listening to?
Yeah, exactly.
So number 1, as you said, is that anger is generally not the root cause of the explosion. It's something that occurred that you avoided, that you didn't take accountability for, that led to the anger, that led to the explosion. Number 2 is what you sit with emotionally is most likely things that you have avoided or you're in the process of avoiding that's going to lead to that anger.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is poor habits that you have.
We talked about that last episode.
Yeah, allow you to continue in that avoidance realm.
Mm.
Number 4, the role of shame, right? After I exploded, after I've done all these different things, now I feel shameful about tearing the door down.
Which makes you less likely to want to do the work.
Exactly. So now I'm even avoiding looking at that door,
Mm-hmm.
right? Number 5, society is going to tell you that as a man, you need to suck it up and not deal with it. But there are ways that you can deal with your emotions in a positive, masculine way.
Yeah. I like suck it up and deal with it. Sometimes you got to eat the emotion.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
for real.
you got to feel the emotion, but then you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm going to leave him with this quote being, and you can say something at the end here, is what you refuse to face will eventually find you. It's that simple.
I don't have anything else to add to that. That is why we're so passionate about handling things when they're small.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come back and get you.
Yeah.
Small problems don't stay small problems when you avoid handling a small problem. They become enormous problems.
Mm-hmm. It's that compound effect.
Yes, it is.
All right.
That's it.
That's a wrap.
That's it.
All right.
Okay. Don't be what? Avoiders?
Don't be avoiders. Yeah.
Go get a voice.
Face it.
That's it.
Go into the dark closet.
Lean in.
Yeah. All right. Let's get it. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Kelly.
Peace. Woo.
Let's go. Game time.